You've been watching an NBC News special report. President Biden addressing the world just a few minutes ago. President Biden delivering that speech from Warsaw, Poland. A large crowd gathering there for the president in foreign land 1 year after the start of the war in Ukraine. And he said the question was going to be asked, would we stand together as a nation and as a world after what had happened? And 1 year later, he said the answer is yes.
Yeah, for the past 20 minutes, we've been listening to President Biden direct strong rhetoric against Russian President Vladimir Putin. He also had strong praise for Ukraine, for the people of Ukraine and Ukraine's president, Volodymyr Zelensky. And in his speech, he also made many references to the fact that he had visited Kyiv, Ukraine, in that surprise visit. He made reference to the fact that he visited the Kyiv Memorial, met with the president there, met with troops there to emphasize the U.S.'s commitment to helping Ukraine in this fight against Russia.
Yes, steadfast in support over and over again. He said that, and also mentioning that Ukraine will never be a victory for Russia. So standing by for how this comes out in the days to come ahead.
And the speech comes after the Russian president, Vladimir Putin, delivered his State of the Nation address in which he talked about how he would suspend the participation of Russia in this major nuclear arms treaty with the U.S. WRAL's Ken Smith listened in on President Biden's speech and the words that he had for Putin and for the world. He joins us now with some key points that President Biden made. Ken.
Yeah, Renee and Jeff, President Biden's speech is coming just hours after Russian President Vladimir Putin delivered his State of the Nation address. I want to show you some video of the president meeting with Poland's president before his speech. Biden, in his speech just a few minutes ago, spoke directly to the Russian people. He said Putin chose this war and he can end it by stopping invading Ukraine. The president said the U.S. has assembled a coalition of allies to assist Ukraine. Now, in a half hour before the president's speech, I listened in on a discussion with a Duke expert on this region. Professor Simon Miles says Russians with means are voting with their feet.
They are voting with their feet, Greg, and they're leaving Russia to try to make their fortunes wherever they can in order to avoid either being conscripted into the war effort or simply seeing their lives and their quality of life dragged down by the continued prosecution of this conflict.
Well, Professor Miles says it doesn't appear that Russia has the reserve to maintain a high level of engagement in that war in Ukraine. He says Russia is still reeling from grossly underestimating the resolve of the Ukrainian army and the Ukrainian people. Renee.
Ken Smith reporting from our newsroom. Ken, thank you.
The state's top educator in other news this noon, celebrating the opening of the newest charter school in Wake County. Triangle Math and Science Academy is expanding its footprint and enrollment with a new campus in Apex.
That's where WRAL's Matt Tallhelm is live with a look at the gaining popularity of this school choice in our state. Matt.
Yeah, Renee, this is the first phase of this $65 million campus here in Apex. The school superintendent of the TMSA system here says this is a wait list. They have a wait list in the Triangle of about 6,500 students for its schools here in the area. State Superintendent of Public Instruction Catherine Truitt joined the school administrators here and the mayor of Apex to cut the ribbon on this new school. Right now, it is home to about 600 elementary school students in kindergarten through 5th grade. The school is the newest of more than 200 charter schools in the state. That's a number that's more than doubled since 2011. They do receive taxpayer funding, but they're operated by independent nonprofit boards. Critics have argued that charter schools take away resources from public schools and aren't as diverse. But this school in Apex here has a student population about 68% Asian. That's according to state enrollment numbers. It is a tuition-free academy focusing on science, technology, engineering, the arts, and math.
So the innovation that this TMSA Apex is doing is really in line with what our state's economic needs are, where the jobs are, how to make students really prepared for life after graduation.
This is a solution for Apex as we're at capacity for many schools. So what TMSA is doing here, and then like putting STEM with it, this is amazing.
More than 140,000 students across the state are now enrolled in charter schools. TMSA plans to add 6th through 8th grade classes at the campus here in Apex over the next few years. And as you can see, the big piles of dirt and construction crews out here, this is for another campus. They plan to build a high school here, with that hoping to open in 2024.
Matt Tallhelm reporting live in Apex. Matt, thank you. In a few hours, the Wake County School Board will take its first step toward finding a new superintendent. Superintendent Kathy Moore recently announced she will retire at the end of June. Now, in a work session today at 3:30, board members will hear a presentation from the North Carolina School Boards Association about recommendations for hiring a replacement. Moore has been the school system superintendent since 2018.
This morning, members of the Green Level High School family in Cary showed bus drivers a little love as part of Love the Bus Month. The annual celebration takes place every February. Schools all over the district, as well as the nation, have been celebrating their bus drivers with gifts, cards, and special breakfasts like this one.
They're teenagers, and you know how teenagers are, so you never know what they're thinking or feeling. And when they walk up to you and say thank you for what you do, it means a lot. It means a lot.
The drivers say they continue to do their jobs because they love it and they love the kids. Many bus routes in Chapel Hill are expected to be canceled for a third day because more than half the district's transportation staff is out sick. Most of them tested positive for COVID after an outbreak in the transportation building. This situation is making the existing driver shortage they're enduring that much harder. This morning, we learned 2 routes have been filled, bringing the total uncovered routes down to 21. The district is prioritizing elementary school routes and students with special needs.
Georgians are showing their support for former President Jimmy Carter during his health battle, including the historic black churches and communities that are celebrating his contributions to the civil rights movement. Members of Ebenezer Baptist Church offered prayers and encouragement to Carter and his family. The historic church is where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. served as co-pastor with his dad. Carter is the oldest living former U.S. president. He celebrated his 98th birthday in October. Congressman Richard Hudson's campaign caused a stir on social media this week with a quip about former President Carter. The tweet you see here posted to social media just 2 days after Carter's family announced that he was entering hospice care. The line is a famous one from President Ronald Reagan during his 1980 campaign against Carter. A spokesman for Hudson said the post was written by a staffer and scheduled before the announcement from Carter's family. Hudson apologized and the tweet was deleted.
Police say a man who was shot outside a hotel along I-95 in Selma is expected to survive. The shooting happened around 2 o'clock this morning. Police say 19-year-old Derek Thompson was shot in the arm and shoulder area. Investigators found several bullet shell casings in front of the Quality Inn and La Quinta hotels. Police are searching for the shooter. Police are also searching for the person who shot and killed a man in the front yard of his Sanford home. Sky 5 shows that scene of the shooting near Magnolia and Simmons Streets yesterday. Family members say 72-year-old Joseph Thomas Smith was killed. Police say 19-year-old Tyshawn Smith was shot in the leg. He's expected to survive.
Let's take a look at stocks now. The Dow Jones Industrial Average on a big downward slide, down 539 points at this hour after retailers shared some disappointing forecasts and traders are weighing the Federal Reserve's next rate move. NASDAQ also down about 240 points, S&P 500 in the red as well. Check those Powerball tickets. No one hit the jackpot, but there is a new millionaire in North Carolina. The lucky winner purchased the $2 ticket from Murphy Express on NC 42 West in Garner and matched all the 5 white balls, but not the Powerball. So here they are, 3, 17, 26, 38, and 54. The Powerball is 15. The multiplier is 3. Since no one won the jackpot, the new jackpot for tomorrow night's drawing will climb to $100 million. You can watch the drawing live here on WRAL at 11 p.m. Next at noon, a new study pinpoints the ages eating disorders start to take hold on kids and young adults. The recommendation for parents if you see signs in your children.
Also, what's behind the red streaks around Jupiter's moon? One thing we know, it's not like anything found on Earth.
Plus, training Wake Tech students in the electric vehicle industry, the money granted for that project and how it will be used.
Download the new WRAL streaming apps on Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, and Android TV.
Happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, some staggering numbers to report this afternoon. North Carolina has reported a 22% increase in overdose deaths. They say in 2021, 4,000 people in North Carolina lost their lives due to an overdose. This is the highest number of overdose deaths in a single year reported on state record. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline was also launched. That offers 24/7 help and assistance for anybody who may need it. They also say the rise in overdose deaths, they say, is recently driven by illegally manufactured fentanyl.
Students and staff are seeing more police and added security at Wake Forest Middle School today. It's in response to a social media threat. WRAL's Laura Levine is tracking this case, which is just the latest in a disturbing string of threats in Wake County.
What we're seeing here today at Wake Forest Middle School is really just a safety precaution. Right now at the school, there is an increased presence of law enforcement. We have the sheriff's office here. We also have Wake Forest police positioned right in front of the school. Now, Principal Chris Bradford shared this message with parents, stating they recently discovered a threat to the school and specific members of the school community that was posted online. He also thanked students and parents for coming forward with the information. This has been reported to the Wake County Sheriff's Office, who is investigating along with the Wake County Public Schools security team here. This school threat is added to the long list of threats made in the school system just this month alone. Right now, you're looking at a total of 11 schools across the district that have been targeted. Local and state leaders are currently working to find solutions to help crack down on a lot of these social media threats. We will continue to monitor the situation here today at Wake Forest Middle. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Wake Forest.
1 in 5 children and adolescents show signs of disordered eating. Signs can include disordered self-image, strict dietary rules, and scrutinizing how much one exercises in relation to eating. Researchers found that 22% of kids between the ages of 6 to 18 years old exhibited signs of disordered eating. These behaviors can progress over time and lead to a person being diagnosed with an eating disorder. Girls, older adolescents, and those with a higher BMI showed the signs at the highest rate. Experts encourage parents to seek professional help for their children as soon as possible. Only 5.7% of physicians in the United States identify as Black or African American. Research shows the percentage of Black doctors in the U.S. has risen very slowly over the past 120 years, and the number is still very low. In 2008, the American Medical Association issued an apology for its history of discrimination toward Black doctors. In 2021, the CDC declared racism as a serious public health threat.
At the first sign of a fever, many parents quickly turn to fever-reducing medication. But pediatricians are warning that may not be the best course of action. Mandy Gaither has what to do when your child gets a fever.
You want them to feel better, so when your child's forehead is hot, you may instantly turn to fever-reducing medications. But pediatricians say this may delay diagnosis of what's causing the fever.
Treat your child and not the number on the thermometer. So if your child is running around and playing, they have a fever, they might not play as long or as hard, but they're still looking pretty good. They're eating and drinking okay. Don't worry about the number.
Pediatrician Maureen Ahmed with Cleveland Clinic says if your child is lethargic, in pain, acting sick, or not eating and drinking, then it's time to treat the fever.
The Tylenol and the Motrin help cover the symptoms. They help your child feel better while they're fighting off an illness, a virus or something, but it does not make them get better faster.
Pediatricians say another concern with unnecessary usage is that there's a greater chance of giving too much medicine, especially if used along with cough and cold combination medication. Ahmed says doctors also want to know how long your child's fever has lasted.
Every time if you reach for the bottle of medication, then we'd be less likely to know if your child is getting worse.
When there's a low-grade fever below 100.4 degrees, Ahmed says the best thing you can do is make sure your child doesn't get dehydrated. If they won't take a cup or bottle, you can give them water or diluted electrolyte fluids in a medicine syringe.
That is going to be more beneficial for them than even giving them a medication.
Scientists say they may have figured out what's behind those mysterious red streaks on Jupiter's moon Europa. They suspect it's a new type of salty ice. The moon has an ocean that sits below a thick shell of ice. Researchers believe the red streaks on the surface are from a combination of water and salts, but they do not match any known substance on Earth. Looks like they just drizzled some syrup or caramel over all of that. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Well, now we have the scientific explanation. Right now, we're seeing some really beautiful sunny skies.
Yeah, our weather's going to be pretty sweet, actually. We take a look outside right now. Looking at partly cloudy skies. This is a live look at downtown Durham. Feeling nice out there. We're seeing a good warm up right now, currently 72 degrees. Our temperatures will go ahead and climb on up into the mid 70s. Our dew point's dropping, so we're looking at a dry air mass, and we're going to, at this point, just watch for the potential for a record today, tomorrow, and for Thursday. Thursday, it looks like it's going to be a slam dunk to set the record, but we may be close to it again today and tomorrow. I want to introduce you to our brand new camera that is focused on our Fayetteville newsroom. You can see folks walking around down Hay Street, and if you happen to be walking by, you'll see some of our familiar faces. You can take pictures with us and enjoy that pretty weather that we're seeing in Fayetteville. I love this photo that was sent to us by one of our weather watchers, and take a look at this. John Craven happened to catch this photo on his doorbell camera. Isn't this the coolest? I mean, our weather's gotten some flap lately, but our temperatures are about to soar this afternoon. So, I mean, this is not for the birds. Sorry. All right, dun-dun-dun. I'll be here the rest of the week. On the left side, the number there, number 9, that's the wind speed right now, looking at 14 miles per hour in Roxborough, 9 in Durham and Raleigh. The number on the left in the white box is our wind gust. So it is fairly gusty out there. We're going to see our winds gusting 20, 25 miles per hour this afternoon. So not only does that sometimes feel uncomfortable, but because we have a dry air mass and the wind, we have high fire danger for this afternoon. Just you don't want to be burning outside today. If you can just put it off for another day or two, it will not be quite as dangerous, especially once we see the wind dying down. Temperatures in the mid 70s for us this afternoon around the Triangle. Could be almost 80 in Fayetteville and Clinton. Looking at 73 for the high temperature this afternoon in Roxborough. We continue not just to be warm today, but to see unusually warm temperatures by the time we get to Thursday. And then after that, our temperatures start to drop a little bit. 76 today. The previous record was 77. 77 with the record of 78 tomorrow. And then on Thursday, we're just going to move right past it, 85, and the previous record was 79. So we shouldn't have any trouble breaking that record. As a matter of fact, that may not be the only record that we end up breaking on Thursday. If we hit 85, that will be the warmest day that we've ever seen in February at RDU. The previous warmest was 84 back in 1977, and 85 is our normal high for June 4th. Our normal highs this time of year, actually in the mid to upper 50s. It's been hard to keep track of because it's been so warm again through February. We had a very warm January. Same thing again this month as well. All right, our tree pollen, because of all this warmth, has started to climb as well. And we're looking at, so of course, that being high for the next several days. Of course, looking at the hottest day of the week on Thursday. After that, we change gears a bit and we're seeing a cold front that'll come through, bringing us some showers and cooler temperatures Saturday. I'll walk through the timeline for Saturday coming up.
Such an interesting week. Elizabeth, thank you. COVID-19 emergency funds are ending soon for families who use SNAP benefits. Coming up tonight at 5:30, the impact this could have on those who are struggling.
And a local sheriff is taking to Facebook about a staffing shortage. Coming up at 4, what he says is the reason behind the job vacancies. And we have an important recall for you this noon. Parents and children care and child care providers. Why a well-known company is recalling a batch of baby formula.
I think you got to keep your mind and your body active in order to get sit around.
Lots of people dream of reaching 100 years of age. One woman has surpassed it and is sharing her secrets to aging gracefully.
There's a new #1 shopping app, and some batches of popular baby formula are being recalled. Those are among today's business headlines with Maribel Aber.
2 batches of Enfamil Pro Sobe Simply plant-based baby formula is being recalled. The maker of the formula, Reckitt, says it's due to possible cross-contamination with the bacteria. It's the same bacteria involved in last year's baby formula shortage. The company says no illnesses have been reported, and the recall is being done out of an abundance of caution. In all, about 145,000 of the 12.9-ounce containers are affected. You can find specifics at Reckitt.com. United is making it easier for families to sit together without paying a fee. The airline is letting parents book seats next to their children who are under the age of 12 for free. United says new technology for its seat map tool makes it easier for parents to find the so-called preferred seats available when booking. And United will also not charge customers a difference in fares if they have to switch to a flight with adjacent seats, so long as it's going to the same destination. The move comes as the White House has called on airlines to ban family seating fees. There's a new #1 shopping app, and it's not Amazon or Walmart. Temu has quickly become the most downloaded app in the U.S. It's a Boston-based online shopping platform that's linked to one of China's top retailers. Temu's online superstore sells a broad array of goods from clothing to electronics at low prices. The app rolled out in September, and since then, it's been downloaded 24 million times, according to data firm Sensor Tower. And those are your business headlines. I'm Maribel Aber at the NASDAQ Market Site.
North Carolina could soon play a major role in the electric vehicle industry in the U.S. After the break, we'll show you how Wake Tech is using federal funding to get students prepared. Also,
the minute I put the needle and thread into that fabric, I felt a visceral connection to my great-grandmother, to my grandmother. I felt it.
Coming up, how one woman made a connection to her roots through the art of quilting. First, here's a look at the winning lottery numbers.
Happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, we are tracking the statements from Biden over in Poland. He was speaking on Russian President Vladimir Putin. Take a listen.
I speak once more to the people of Russia. The United States and the nations of Europe do not seek to control or destroy Russia. The West was not plotting to attack Russia, as Putin said today. And millions of Russian citizens who only want to live in peace with their neighbors are not the enemy. This war is never a necessity. It's a tragedy.
And President Biden went on to say that Kyiv stands strong nearly 1 year after Russia's invasion there, going on to say it is not Ukraine that is just being tested. The whole world faced a test, and allies stood strong against Russia's aggression.
Michelle, thanks. Today, construction begins on a new fire station serving Johnston County. A groundbreaking ceremony is happening this afternoon for the new Wilson's Mills Fire Station and Training Center on Gordon Road in Clayton. Novo Nordisk donated the land for the buildings, which will provide fire and EMS services for the community and for the company's nearby manufacturing plants. The work is due to be complete next year. Today, people living in Fayetteville can help choose how they want to spend federal money. The city is hosting a discussion on a community development block grant. That money could go toward issues like affordable housing, economic development, job skills training, and solutions to homelessness. Tonight's meeting starts at 6 at the Cliffdale Rec Center.
A growing number of people are reporting health issues in the aftermath of a massive train derailment and chemical release in Ohio. Today, the state will open a health clinic for people concerned their symptoms are linked to the derailment. Teams from the CDC and the U.S. Department of Health will also be in the area this week. Many of those people say they're experiencing symptoms like nausea, headaches, and trouble breathing.
I have lost my sense of smell and taste since then, some respiratory issues.
It is unclear what, if any, long-term health problems might arise from the train wreck or controlled release of vinyl chloride. A legal victory for Alec Baldwin. The district attorney dropped a firearm enhancement charge after the actor's attorneys argued prosecutors could not use a version of a law that was not on the books at the time of the shooting. The move dramatically lessens the potential prison time Baldwin could face if convicted. Baldwin was holding the gun that fired on the set of the movie Rust, killing the film's cinematographer, Helena Hutchins.
More tributes in the town of Plains, Georgia, for the nation's oldest living president. Jimmy Carter is said to be surrounded by loved ones as he receives hospice care. NBC's Kelly O'Donnell reports on the longtime Sunday school teacher who is leaving the nation with one final lesson, saying goodbye peacefully.
A time of reflection for many in Plains, Georgia. Jimmy Carter's presidency shaping much of this town's identity. His name and likeness everywhere.
Plains has just been the focal point of our life.
A journey with Rosalind, shared since their childhoods and during 76 years of marriage. As former presidents send good thoughts, so do many admirers.
He's kind of given us a little bit of time to reflect on him while he's still alive.
That is perhaps the unexpected result of President Carter making public his decision to move to hospice care at his Plains home. At 98, he's offered a signal about being at peace with death, as he discussed openly in 2015.
But now I feel, that it's in the hands of God, whom I worship, and I'll be prepared for anything that comes.
Now others are coming to Plains to honor him in whatever time remains.
What he did for the poor, for the disadvantaged, and all over the world to try to make a difference.
Andrew and Sam McMullen made a last-minute detour on their road trip to see the Carter hometown.
We're here because it's an honor to be in the presence of a president.
The McMullens feel a connection to one of Carter's most enduring acts of service, Habitat for Humanity.
He came to my small Appalachian hometown of Huntington, Pennsylvania, and he built a house. He was one of the first to drive the nails.
His dedication to great causes was rooted here in Plains and resonates around the world.
That's Kelly O'Donnell reporting. Record investment is coming to the state of North Carolina for electric vehicle infrastructure, and that includes funding for the next generation of technicians. Liz McLaughlin was at an event at Wake Tech this morning and shares the exciting developments. Liz.
Good afternoon. We're at the Hendrick Center for Automotive Excellence at Wake Tech, and you can see it's just a state-of-the-art facility. It still has that new paint smell because it just opened about a year ago. And today there was a big celebration because this facility received nearly $1 million in funding. You can see the check over here. It was actually part of $26 million in community projects going to Wake County. That was part of funding for the county that was approved last year by Biden for the fiscal year 2023. And you can see some of the EVs here that students were working on this morning, demoing some of the latest technology that they will be exploring. And with record investment here in the infrastructure, it's not just working on cars like this. They call it from grid to plug to wheel. So there's electricians also learning how to maintain and repair those charging infrastructure systems, the chargers themselves, and cars. Many of these clean energy companies have talked about a need for jobs that they just can't fill. We saw Chempower just a couple of weeks ago coming to Durham. That's an EV charging manufacturer bringing 300 jobs. So we need to fill those jobs with trained technicians to do it. And Wake Tech is stepping up to the plate thanks to some of this federal funding. We heard from Congresswoman Deborah Ross, who was at the event today and helped get this funding through. Let's listen to what she had to say.
And the next generation is so excited to do it. So we got a grant from the federal government so they can have the equipment that they need to do this training so that they can service the vehicles of today and the future. And you can see how excited people are.
And I talked to students and the president of Wake Tech here. The excitement is real. The students are really energized about this career and about how far they can go, already getting job offers in year one of this 2-year program. So there's just a lot of growth here to come. In Raleigh, I'm Liz McLaughlin. Back to you guys.
Wake Tech does it right, Liz. Thanks. And that's an exciting new initiative, the next step.
Yeah, big investment to grease the wheels for the EV industry. Liz, thank you.
Up next, piecing together the Black history of quilting, the stories behind a new display at Northwestern University.
And the NBC drama, The Blacklist, is about to enter into its final season. The drama and suspense ahead for fans of Red Reddington and Elizabeth King. WRAL is everywhere you need to be with the WRAL News app. Get breaking news, weather, and sports delivered right to your device. It's available wherever you get your apps.
And a live look right now. This is Fayetteville from our WRAL Live Cam network and our newest edition right here, Fayetteville Newsroom of WRAL. Take a walk past it on Hay Street. Say hi. As you watch WRAL News, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. A vibrant quilt display exhibiting the inspiration and importance of quilting in the African American community has taken over the walls at Northwestern University Gallery. Leanne Trotter introduces us to a professor of African American Studies who explains how quilting has been transformed into an art form.
This was the first quilt?
Northwestern University professor Tracy Vaughn Manley didn't aspire to become a quilter. In fact, she never even had the desire to sew until she was inspired by a colleague's quilt.
The minute I put the needle and thread into that fabric, I felt a visceral connection to my great-grandmother, to my grandmother. I felt it.
A retrospective of many of the professor's quilts, the majority of which are handmade,
hand-pieced, hand-quilted,
are on display at Northwestern University's Ditmar Gallery.
This is my legacy. This is my heritage. This is me. And I've been attached to it ever since.
The show includes pieces from sister quilters Betty Jo Bonds and Melissa Blount. The show title, Radiant Compositions, refers to the fabric.
I want them to radiate. And so they're not just quilts, these are compositions.
Quilting has a long legacy in the African American community. The art form was born out of necessity.
When many enslavers didn't give those that they enslaved bedding at all, they had to sleep literally on dirt floors. So this was a way of supplementing scraps and things to try to keep warm.
Over the years, quilts have become markers of passage for birthdays, weddings, or other important occasions. And as we celebrate Black History Month, Professor Vaughn Manley has this message.
Look at where you've come from, one. Look at where you're going.
Those stories, those canvas tell. Well, they look like something out of a cartoon. These viral big red boots are actually a thing, and they're sold out, where you can find them at a markup of more than 3 times the original price. NBC's long-running drama, The Blacklist, resumes Sunday night with the premiere of its 10th and final season. The crime saga has covered a lot of territory over the past decade, and Mark Barger has a preview of what's ahead.
It's been a decade since the world first met Raymond Reddington.
Agent Keene, what a pleasure.
And James Spader is not surprised at all. The character's still around.
I remember when I read the pilot, I said, I can see the next 10 years. What list? Let's call it the Blacklist. That sounds exciting.
And the excitement is building to a crescendo as the 10th and final season starts Sunday.
There's an inevitable end, and it's not I'm not sure it's a great one when you're talking about Reddington, and especially for others around him. He loses people.
Raymond is not your friend.
A betrayal last season by Red's confidant.
He's a confidential informant.
Creates his biggest challenge yet.
You know, a who's who of blacklisters to try to go after Reddington and also the task force.
This is only the beginning.
A situation that takes the team and Red into new territory.
He's more impatient, and I think he's also more ruthless, and he seems more, to me, more like living the life of a fugitive a little bit more during the season.
And even if fans think they know how it all ends.
And it's a beautiful kitchen.
Oh, stop with the kitchen already. Your route is going to be so circuitous that you really don't know what you're looking at. And it's surprising.
Setting the stage for a fitting farewell. Mark Barger, NBC News.
The final season of The Blacklist starts Sunday night at 10 here on WRAL right after Magnum PI. And James Spader just perfect for that role. Can't believe it's the last season.
I know, he nails it, definitely. And Blacklist sounds exciting, as he said. But we get just light everywhere right now. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Those clouds are breaking up, the sun's out, it's warm.
Oh, it's such a pretty afternoon out there. I pulled up the Apex camera because I've seen so many people walking up and down Salem Street. You can see these two folks out with their dog. There's just been people up and down and in and out and just really enjoying the weather. You can see partly cloudy skies there. It is a little bit breezy, but if you're headed out to the park this afternoon, temperatures are going to be in the mid-70s. As a matter of fact, if you can take the kids out until you get home from work, temperatures will be in the upper 60s still. And of course, our sunset gets later and later. It's not going to be long until we go back to standard time, and then of course, or daylight time, I should say, and then our sunrise or sunset is even later. We do have a disturbance, a cold front that's going to be swinging toward our area. It may produce a few clouds as we get into the middle to latter part of the afternoon, but it's not likely to produce any rain. It's going to park itself down here near the South Carolina line and then lift northward tomorrow as a warm front, and that's going to give us an extra push of warmth that brings our temperatures into the 80s on Thursday. Here's a look at the remainder of the afternoon. Just a few passing clouds, call it partly cloudy for the rest of the day today. Once we get closer to midnight, we start to see the clouds really thickening up. So it may be a bit on the gray side tomorrow morning. There's 10 p.m. We'll push it ahead to midnight. And first thing in the morning, as the warm front starts to lift back to the north, we could see a few isolated showers. We saw a little bit of that this morning. It's going to be, less than 1/10 of an inch, nothing really measurable in the rain gauges, but we may start the day on the gray side. By lunchtime, we'll really see a strong flow coming out of the south, pushes all the clouds out and really brings us a very mild afternoon with some sunshine. Should feel good. After that, Thursday looks dry and so does Friday. Saturday is the next chance of rain that we see, and we'll walk through Saturday. We'll see increasing clouds and a good chance of rain spread across the area by lunchtime. Saturday, we'll continue to see a front moving across the area, and the rain may pick up in intensity a little bit late afternoon into the evening, especially from the Triangle area southward. Then gradually all this moves out, and Sunday is likely to start with some cloud cover, but it looks like the rain will be over. So it's going to be a fairly dry week. Tomorrow morning, we'll have a tiny chance of a shower, and then Thursday and Friday are dry. Saturday could be wet, especially the second half of the day. Those temperatures, my goodness, of course, our normal high temperature at this time of year is in the mid to upper 50s. So today and tomorrow, we're 20 degrees above normal and almost 30 degrees above normal on Thursday. Just incredible. After that, Saturday is much closer to normal at 53, but it's just for a day. We bounce right back up into the 70s on Sunday, and on Monday, temperatures will be mostly cloudy with temperatures still above normal. So, and it looks like we're going to most likely wrap up the month of February with temperatures above normal. So it's definitely been a warm one. Enjoy it for the next few days.
That's like beach temperatures right there, early beach season. So I don't know about you, but if a hammerhead shark is at the beach and in the water, I'm staying out. Not the case, though, for one protective pup. This shocking video you won't want to miss.
And here's a look at last night's Powerball drawing. There was not a jackpot winner, but there was a big winner in Garner. That ticket was purchased from the Murphy Express on NC Highway 42 in Johnson County, worth $1 million. So if it's you, remember your friends, Jeff and Renee. We'll be right back. As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today. New in the last hour, President Biden gave a speech in Warsaw, Poland, ahead of the anniversary of the war in Ukraine. Biden urged allies to be honest and clear-eyed while looking at the year ahead. The president responded to claims that Russian President Vladimir Putin made. Biden said Putin unleashed a murderous assault by ordering tanks into Ukraine.
Triangle Math and Science Academy is expanding its footprint and enrollment with a new campus in Apex. Right now, it's home to about 600 elementary school students in kindergarten through 5th grade. The school plans to add 6th through 8th grade classes at the campus over the next few years. This is the newest of more than 200 charter schools in the state, a number that's more than doubled since 2011.
In a few hours, the Wake County School Board will take its first step toward finding a new superintendent. Superintendent Katty Moore recently announced that she will retire at the end of June after 5 years in that role. In a work session today at 3:30, board members will hear a presentation from the North Carolina School Boards Association about recommendations for hiring a replacement.
You've probably seen the big red boots on social media that look something like out of a cartoon. Well, that $350 footwear is sold out. The boots sold on the Mischief website were inspired by Japanese video game character Astro Boy. Now you can find them on marketplaces like eBay for as much as $800. The plastic and rubber boots have been spotted on influencers like Ciara, Lil Wayne, and WWE wrestler Seth freaking Rollins.
A Missouri woman is celebrating her 105th birthday by sharing her keys to a happy life. Irene Fee was born in 1918, and she remembers going to church in a horse and buggy. But she doesn't dwell on the past. Irene prefers to look forward, and she's convinced that's how she stays young. She likes keeping up with the news and the stock market. She paints, does embroidery, and traces genealogy. Irene says it's important to keep the mind and body active.
A daring dog took on a 12-foot hammerhead shark, and it was all caught on camera.
He's huge. Get in the water, you idiot!
Oh, no, yeah. This happened off the coast of Exuma in the Bahamas. You can hear the passengers on that boat scream as the dog leaps into the water and appears to fight the shark, and then the dog manages to get away. Feisty pup lives on the private island. It is unclear if the dog was just defending its home or looking for a play date with the shark.
Either way, a brave one. Yeah. Our pet of the day comes from Red Barn Rescue, and he's been there for a while. We're hoping that you can give him a forever home. Meet Bales. He's a 75-pound yellow lab German Shepherd mix. He's smart, loves to work, and learns fast. He's a big guy with a sensitive side who looks to his humans for guidance with commands delivered in a calm voice. Bales loves the treadmill and loves to exercise. He's a work in progress, but will blossom with the right person. So contact Red Barn Rescue if you want to meet him.
A volatile real estate market is starting to show signs of easing. Today at 4, we'll show you where home prices are dropping the most and why economists say we should expect to see more prices drop.
Enjoy the 70-degree weather out there, 70-degree plus. NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, and your next local news update in 30 minutes.
Have a good day.
Stay local. Stay with WRAL. Coverage never stops on the radio with 99.3 in Raleigh and 96.5 in Durham.